All right, so we got to be sure we recognize if a scatter plot it has a positive, negative, or no correlation by looking at just the tables or by looking at the graphs. So by looking at the tables, if we have an example that, let's say we're looking at the number of hours that you study and the grades that you earn on a test. Let's say if you study 0 hours, you might get a 50%. If you study for 1 hour, you might be able to bump that up to a 60. If you study for 2 hours, let's say you get a 75. If you study for 3 hours, you're likely to get an 85. It might take you 4 hours or so to get like a 97. Okay. So just by looking at this, we can see that as time increases, grades also increase. So that has a positive correlation. Okay? Just by looking at the table, we can see that all the numbers are increasing. Both numbers are increasing. All right? Now, if one number is increasing and one number is decreasing, for example, let's say that we're draining a pool. It takes a long time to drain a pool. And we'll measure the water in the pool by gallons of water. So before we start draining the pool, we could say there's 1,000 gallons of water in there. Then after 2 hours, maybe there's 800, and after 3 hours, there's 600. After 4 hours, there's 400. So we can see that as time increases, the number of gallons decreases. So that's a negative correlation. All right, so we can see by looking at the tables, if they're both increasing, then it's positive. If one's increasing and one's decreasing, then it's got a negative correlation. All right, now let's make sure we got it when we look at a graph. So here in this example, we have a science class recording the weight of different bags of rocks. The results are displayed in this scatter plot here. So first, to sketch a trend line is just a line that generally tells us what the data is doing. And we try to get an equal number of points under the line and an equal number of points on top of the line. So I'm going to try to cut those points in half. And sometimes it's kind of hard. It's not always perfect. But the line will probably look something like that. All right, so now the next question is, if the bag had 30 rocks, what would be a reasonable estimate? Well, since I drew that line, it's really easy. I just go over to 30 rocks in the bag. I go up and see how much that might weigh. And it looks like it's between 80 and 90. So between 80 and 90, let's say it's 85 grams. So if it's got 30 rocks, it's about 85 grams. All right. And number 3 says, as the number of rocks in the bag increases, the weight of the bag also increases. All right, so then what would we say about that? What type of correlation would it have? Well, it would be a positive correlation. Okay, they're both increasing, and you can see the line is going up. So let's look at this next example here. So the number of months we have here and the money in savings. So it doesn't look like she's saving very much money. Actually, it looks like she's spending money. So let's read it. Nelda is recording the amount of money she has in her savings account at the end of each month. She displayed the results in the scatter plot. All right, so let's sketch a trend line. It's just going to capture the general pattern of the data. Oops, there we go. I didn't have it quite right the first time, so I got to correct it. Okay. Now, next it says, what would be a reasonable estimate of the amount of money in the savings account after 11 months? Well, after 11 months, see, I just used my line. It looks like she's almost out of money. It looks like she has not quite $5, so I would say probably $4. So she went from $50 down to $4. So she's spending all her money. She's not really saving any. So here we would say, as time increases, the amount of money, so the amount of money decreases. So one's increasing and one's decreasing, Therefore, we have a negative correlation. All right, it's a negative correlation.